The first warning was not a sound. It was an absence of one. A farm in northern Texas lay silent under the fading evening light. Too silent. No clucking from the coop. No rustle of movement from the tree line. Even the bobcats stayed unnervingly still, their noses tilted toward the wind as if sensing something the humans could not yet see. When the first shadow slipped across the dirt path, the farmer felt a cold ripple run through him. He knew that shape. He'd seen it before. The bobcats had returned. Before we dive into this story, hit subscribe so you never miss the wildlife investigations we uncover next. The bobcat is not the largest predator roaming American farmlands, but it may be one of the most dangerous. Its power lies not in size, but in design. A compact body built for sudden acceleration, muscles coiled beneath a spotted coat, eyes glowing with a hunter's patience. They do not stalk in packs, nor do they depend on numbers to overwhelm their prey. A single bobcat can devastate a farm in minutes, slipping in silently, striking fast, and vanishing with the same ghost-like grace with which it arrived. Across the United States, the surge in bobcat populations has forced an escalating conflict between humans and wildlife. From Texas ranches to the rolling hills of Tennessee, millions of dollars in livestock damage pile up each year, a crisis few outside rural America truly understand. Farmers tell stories of entire flocks wiped out in one night, of trails of feathers leading into the woods, of paw prints in the dirt like a taunt from an invisible enemy. And every year, the encounters become more frequent. Bobcats themselves are not newcomers to this land. They evolved alongside the continent's earliest predators, adapting to shifting climates, migrating across mountain ranges, spreading through forests and grasslands. Their resilience is their strength. Fire does not stop them. Drought does not stall them. Human encroachment only pushes them to sharpen their ability to hide, hunt, and survive. For every boundary humans build, bobcats find a way to test it. One of the most dramatic cases occurred on a family farm in central Oklahoma. The farmer had reinforced his enclosures, added motion lights, even installed electric wire along the top of the fence. Yet one morning he woke up to a scene that looked like a battlefield. Feathers floated through the air, the gate hung crooked, and in the soil below he found prints. Round, deep, unmistakable. A bobcat had scaled the fence, slipped into the coop, and killed over 100 birds before disappearing back into the night. Not out of malice, not even out of hunger, simply instinct. For families whose survival depends on their livestock, such losses cut deeper than money. Children raise those chickens. The farm counted on those eggs. In rural America, a single night can decide whether a family breaks even or falls behind. That is why, despite controversy, many states have continued to legalize and regulate bobcat hunting as a tool of population control. Hunters do not aim to eradicate the species. They aim to manage it, to restore a balance that nature once maintained through wolves, mountain lions, and other predators now pushed out of many regions. Understanding how bobcats move is essential to understanding why hunting them requires extraordinary skill. Their paws leave rounded tracks similar to a house cat, but much larger. Their claws rarely show because retractable claws stay sheathed when they walk. Their droppings are buried like secrets, and their scratch marks appear on tree trunks where they sharpen their weapons in silence. To track a bobcat is to follow a whisper of evidence across landscapes that shift from dense brush to rocky ridges. Some hunters wake before dawn, scanning the ground with flashlights, searching for the faintest indentation in the soil. Others rely on instinct, reading the forest as if it speaks to them. A snapped twig, a subtle change in the wind, a spot where the birds refuse to land. These tiny clues form a trail invisible to most, but clear as a map to the experienced eye. When a bobcat appears, there is no room for error. Their movements are unpredictable. They may sprint, leap, or climb in a heartbeat. A miss means the cat melts into the treetops or vanishes behind brush so thick a human could lose themselves within 5 steps. Hunters aim for precision, a clean, humane shot. Many target the shoulder or just behind it, ensuring the animal falls quickly. Others prefer the neck when distance and angle align perfectly. Hunting is not taken lightly. Licenses require education in safety and ethics. Hunters learn not only how to take a life, but how to respect the one they take. In parts of Arizona and New Mexico, bobcats often flee up trees when cornered. This poses a different challenge: the height, the angle, the speed at which the animal can leap from branch to branch. Hunters must stay steady, calm, and certain. A rush shot can injure rather than cleanly dispatch, something ethical hunters strive to avoid. Meanwhile, on the open plains of Kansas or Nebraska, the tactics shift completely. Instead of trees, the horizon stretches wide and empty like an ocean of grass. Spotting a bobcat in this vastness requires patience and powerful binoculars. Hunters scan for movement: a twitch in the grass, a flick of a tail, a shimmer of fur catching sunlight. When a bobcat emerges, the moment is brief. Distance matters, wind matters, and hesitation is the enemy. For many hunters, the thrill is not in the kill itself. It is in the pursuit, the test of patience, the dance between predator and prey, the mental chess match between human strategy and feline instinct. Even seasoned hunters admit that bobcats outsmart them regularly. The cat's intelligence borders on uncanny. They can circle behind their trackers, double back on their own paths, even freeze for minutes at a time, blending into their surroundings so perfectly that they disappear. Hunting, however, is only one part of the larger conflict. In recent years, trapping has reemerged as a widely used method for managing bobcat populations. Trappers set steel foothold traps, not designed to injure, but to hold securely. They pick locations with great care, focusing on areas where bobcats leave trails, scratch posts, or scent markers. These traps must be concealed under leaves or soil, baited with lures ranging from fresh meat to specially formulated scents that mimic prey. Checking traps frequently is essential. Not only is it humane, it is required by law in many states. A trapped bobcat must be handled quickly, cleanly, and safely, minimizing stress for both the animal and the trapper. Female bobcats with kittens are often released unharmed, especially during breeding season. Despite the controversy, trapping remains an effective tool when used responsibly. In regions where hunting alone cannot keep bobcat numbers level, trapping fills the gap. But the deeper question remains: can any of these methods truly solve the problem, or are they temporary patches on a wound that continues to reopen? Some biologists argue that the bobcat population boom is not the animal's fault at all. They suggest the real cause lies in the landscape humans have shaped. As forests were cleared for farmland and suburbs, dense brush and pockets of cover grew in their place. These transitional areas, not open and not fully wooded, form the perfect ambush habitat for bobcats. Add an abundance of rodents, rabbits, chickens, and other easy prey, and the environment becomes a breeding ground for feline success. Human expansion ironically created an ecosystem where bobcats thrive more now than they did a century ago. Predator numbers that once kept bobcat populations balanced have also declined. Wolves and mountain lions, historically the top predators in many regions, have been pushed out or reduced drastically. Without natural competition, bobcats face little ecological pressure. They reproduce successfully, their young survive, and their hunting ranges spread wider with every generation. It is not malice that drives them into barns and chicken coops, only opportunity. For farmers, the emotional strain builds over time. Many speak of the same sinking feeling when they walk out to a coop at dawn and sense something is wrong before they even open the door. Silence often tells the story before they see the damage. A few scattered feathers, a broken latch, a trail leading into the tree line. It becomes personal, even if they know the bobcat is only doing what nature designed it to do. One farmer from Arkansas described the moment he realized the problem had escalated beyond fencing and lights. After losing dozens of chickens in a series of attacks, he installed reinforced wire mesh, motion-activated sirens, even bright predator deterrent lights that flashed through the night. The bobcat adapted. It changed its entry point. It learned the pattern of the lights. It waited until the farmer's dog was confined indoors for the night. The farmer explained it simply. You're not dealing with a dumb animal, you're dealing with a strategist. His story mirrors countless others. Bobcats think, they plan, they test boundaries. And when they find a weakness, they exploit it. This intelligence makes them fascinating animals, symbols of wild America. But it also places them at odds with a farming landscape that cannot withstand repeated losses. That is why wildlife agencies across the United States continue to implement controlled hunting seasons. Not as a celebration of killing, but as an attempt to bring balance back to fragile rural ecosystems. The license process itself underscores this philosophy. Prospective hunters must pass firearms safety courses, learn ethical shot placement, and study bobcat behavior before taking part in a hunt. In some states, hunters are even required to present harvested animals to wildlife biologists so data can be collected on age, sex, health, and population trends. These details help scientists understand whether bobcat numbers are climbing too fast or stabilizing naturally. Hunters, trappers, farmers, and wildlife managers form an uneasy but necessary alliance. Each group views the bobcat from a different angle. The hunter sees a challenge, the farmer sees a threat, and the biologist sees a critical species in a delicate ecological puzzle. The tension between these perspectives shapes the story of bobcat management in America today. In parts of the Midwest, landscape changes have triggered especially dramatic confrontations. Vast grasslands give bobcats the ability to roam widely, often hunting miles from where they den. The openness forces hunters to rely on distant spotting, which can shift from calm observation to intense action within seconds. When a bobcat pauses, looking back as if deciding whether to flee or fight, the moment stretches into thin, silent tension. The hunter must judge distance, wind, movement, and timing all at once. Even so, the bobcat frequently wins. Many hunters recall moments when the animal vanished as though dissolving into the terrain. A single crouch, a shift in angle, and the cat becomes invisible. The thrill of such encounters is partly why many hunters respect the bobcat more deeply than almost any other predator they pursue. In dense forests, the story is different. Sound becomes the primary indicator. A faint rustle, the snap of a twig, the hush of something gliding through undergrowth. The cat may appear only as a pair of glowing eyes reflecting light for a split second before darting out of sight. In these moments, the forest feels alive in a way that tests a hunter's patience and discipline. Rushing leads to mistakes. Hesitation leads to missed chances. It is a delicate dance. Bobcats that climb trees introduce a new layer of complexity. Once high above the ground, they blend into branches so effectively that hunters sometimes lose sight of them even while staring directly at the spot. Shots from below require careful angles to ensure a humane kill. Ethical hunters know that a poorly placed shot risks suffering, and that is something responsible wildlife management seeks to avoid entirely. But even after a successful hunt or trap, the story of the bobcat does not end. The pelts are used in the fur industry, valued for their patterns and softness. The meat, though less known to the public, is eaten in some regions, prepared into stews or smoked dishes. Nothing is wasted, reflecting a philosophy deeply rooted in rural American culture. Respect the animal, even as it challenges your livelihood. In the last decade, states like Texas, Colorado, and Montana have recorded fluctuations in bobcat numbers, sometimes rising dramatically, other times leveling off due to rigorous management. In Texas alone, biologists documented thousands of sightings and reports, with peak harvest totals nearing 4,000 animals in some years. California, meanwhile, has taken a more conservative approach, permitting only a fraction of that number to be harvested annually, hoping to protect bobcat populations while studying long-term ecological effects. Data from several wildlife agencies indicate that in areas with consistent hunting and trapping efforts, poultry losses drop by measurable amounts, sometimes as much as 10 to 20% in the year following active population management. Though not a total solution, it shows that targeted interventions can provide temporary relief for suffering farmers. Yet the core debate remains unresolved. Is hunting a long-term strategy or merely a temporary stabilizer? Wildlife ecologists caution that nature rarely responds in simple ways. Remove too few bobcats, and populations continue to surge. Remove too many, and rodent numbers explode, damaging crops in different ways. The goal, therefore, is balance, a word repeated by nearly everyone involved in the discussion. Some conservationists are researching alternatives, ranging from habitat modification to improved livestock protection technologies. Reinforced enclosures, scent deterrents, guardian animals, and advanced monitoring systems may one day reduce reliance on hunting altogether. But for now, these solutions remain limited, expensive, or inconsistent. Until new breakthroughs emerge, the U.S. government continues to authorize regulated hunting seasons as a central component of predator management. The partnership between farmers and hunters, though born of necessity, has become a crucial part of maintaining stability in rural communities. As night falls once more over barns, silos, and open fields, the silent conflict continues. The bobcat moves with ancient purpose, driven not by malice but by instinct. The farmer scans the darkness, protecting a livelihood handed down through generations. And somewhere in the middle, a hunter stands ready, not as an enemy of wildlife, but as a steward of balance in a land where nature and human survival are deeply intertwined. And now the question turns to you. Should hunting remain a critical tool in managing bobcat populations, or should we invest more heavily in alternative methods? Comment 1 if you support regulated hunting. Comment 0 if you believe a different path must be found. And as always, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dive wildlife documentaries and stories that reveal the hidden struggles shaping the natural world around us.